Right, lads, what is up? Welcome back to the Keep the Head podcast with me, Adam, and Rob. No Ryan today, as he is away. And we're going to be going over some things that happened throughout the week, both Champions League, Premier League, and a lot of transfers. And we'll also be doing our predictions for the weekend. So, I suppose the main thing to start off with will be some of the major ongoings, outgoings, ins and outs of the transfer market for the last week for the January transfer window. So I suppose we'll do the biggest one, which was John Duran has left Aston Villa to go to Al Nassr for a fixed fee of 77 million euros, so about 65 million pound ish roughly. To say I'm disappointed is a bit of an understatement. I'm very, very disappointed. Not in the player. It's a sad day because another top level striker has gone for has left the Premier League basically. It would have been great to see him play, whether or not for Aston Villa, but for another big club. Um, so for me personally, I'm disappointed, but obviously I can see why he went. Money's basically set up for the next 5 years. I think it's a 5 year deal. Um, Obviously no tax after 2 years, and then he can come back. Like, he's only 21, so once he comes back, he can come back and play for any team really still. But it'll be at least a good 2 to 3 years of his career in Saudi. So yeah, any thoughts?
Um, like I thought he'd a player, he'd a ton of potential.
Mm,
Well, he probably still has a ton of potential, but I think I believe he was one of the players Chelsea was looking at. We looked at him last summer, and then I believe we're looking at him again. I don't know if we pulled out of the deal because I think they were saying issues around his temperament. I don't
yeah.
know like how true it is, but apparently that's one of the red flags that kind of they brought up, and we decided not to. But yeah, I think it's just it's a money deal for
Mm,
himself because I believe it was only a few days ago that West Ham bid whatever it was. I think it was like it works out that was like 5 million less than what the team in Saudi bid.
yeah.
But obviously in Saudi, they're probably offering him way higher wages, and as you said, the tax break thing, which is that can turn into generational wealth. I wouldn't be surprised if he only stays the 2 years and he looks to come back after that. Because you even think about in that time frame, again, what like the tax in the UK and the upper tax bracket, it's nearly half, isn't it? I think it's like like in the mid 40s.
Yeah.
Once you pass, like say four, I think it's like 40,000, and then anything after you're getting taxed like literally half your wages. So like that's a significant difference. So he goes to Saudi for even 2 years, just on whatever 300 grand a week or whatever it is. Like that's generational wealth.
Especially
So
like he's only 21, so
yeah,
it's it sets him and his family up for the next 20, 30 years, depending on how long he stays. Um,
like the difference is, I believe at the moment he signed like that's the mad thing. He signed a new contract with Villa, I think during the summer,
yeah.
because again Chelsea were looking at him, deal didn't go through, and I think a few other people are looking, and I think Aston Villa wanted to tie him down, basically as like a successor to Ollie Watkins, and he signed I think it was like a 7 year deal, and I think he was on something like £70,000 a week, which for a striker of his level, it's not a whole lot. But again, it's like there's a lot of room to improve, and he'll be getting like updated terms and stuff like that. But even if you do a quick breakdown on that, like roughly, he's getting like he's probably taking home like I don't know something like if he's getting 70, maybe about 50, roughly
Yeah.
50,000, roughly. Now he's getting about 300 straight in the back pocket a week. Like
If not
that's the
more.
like that's the you might then of course you might have sponsorships, and he's playing with Ronaldo, I believe that's the team he's gone to.
Yeah, playing with
So
Ronaldo and Sane,
yeah,
or yeah.
so yeah, that's all really. He was a striker I was looking at. I thought he had a lot of attributes, and yeah, it's a bit of a shame he goes there. But look, you can't turn these things down. I mean, years ago, our player Oscar, where
Mm,
he went to China at the time, and some people are saying, "Oh, why are you going to why are you going to Saudi Arabia now for these opportunities? Why not wait until you're 30?"
yeah.
But if Oscar had to wait until he's 30, I mean, where's China now?
Yeah, you don't
Do
hear
you know what
about
I
it
mean?
anymore.
Them opportunities are gone. Like Oscar, I believe, could have been an absolute. Well, even for us, he was unbelievably good. You can look at the highlights on YouTube if you don't know who he is, but he's an extremely good footballer. But he kind of made the trade off at the time. I believe he took like this enormous. He was getting like £500,000 a week,
Mm,
which was at the time. You're talking about 10 years ago, like
mental.
a phenomenal amount of money for a player. He was a young player, kind of a bit of potential, but they were trying to start their own version of this, pro league and get big players in, and they basically it kind of crumbled, but they had to keep him on his contract. So,
Yeah,
but he threw away his international career as well, which I think he kind of made that trade off. He's like, look, I know what I'm doing, so yeah,
he was setting himself up
look,
financially.
yeah, they set himself up financially, and there's not really much else to say. I don't think it's you know
Just a bit of a disappointment.
Well, I mean, it's whatever. To see is he could probably still come back, or who knows? But yeah, he's gone anyway, and
That's that for at least another 2 to 3 years, anyway.
I kind of feel a little bit bad for him on Victor Boniface because
Mm,
Saudi kind of played the both of them.
yeah.
Saudi made not I don't know if he made but your man Boniface, the Bayern Leverkusen striker,
Yes.
he basically agreed terms with the same Saudi club and did a medical for them, passed both, and he said to be in touch. But he basically said the exact same thing to Duran
Mm,
and went ahead and signed Duran. And now Boniface is sitting there, with egg on his face. Because imagine sitting there thinking you're going to be promised all this money in this long contract and it's gone and you're back to Leverkusen.
but just
No, no offense, but like if you wanted that much money and you're back down to what you were like, oh,
yeah.
what a letdown.
Well, even to kind of bounce off that, does could Boniface maybe get a transfer move? Maybe not to a Saudi club, but maybe to a bigger club. Now Bayer Leverkusen is a big club, and after winning um all their domestic trophies in Germany, but
Yeah, he's just in a bit of a precarious situation because he's a
yeah,
bit late on in his career. He's never, we don't know what level he's played at. If he wanted the Saudi move, I believe he was like, he's willing to go there.
mm,
I don't know what other teams take him. In terms, it's one of them ones that
yeah,
he's at that age, he's at that level where a lot of Premier League teams they want younger strikers, something like that. I know West Ham are crazy looking for a striker, but again, maybe Boniface doesn't see that as a viable option. I don't know what it would be in terms of money. So
yeah. I didn't see a lot about the fee now, but I think he could get a move still
I
if
don't
it.
know if he's like pushing for a move. I think it was just
No,
more like an opportunity that came up. I don't think he's pushing. It was just like obviously like the money they'd be offering, and again the tax free incentive is
yeah,
it's life changing,
it's massive for a
and
lot of players.
especially he's not late on his career, but maybe just like you know what I could go here for 5 years, get a crazy amount of money, and again that's your sword.
Yeah. Then in other transfer talks and obviously news, Patrick Dorgu has signed for Manchester United. I think he was put on a 5 year deal. I think the fee was
Yeah,
was it 35 million altogether, £35 million, 30
I
million,
think it was
five in
something like
add-ons.
that. I
Um,
know a small bit about this player because again, I believe Chelsea were looking at him.
mm,
He said he was a big Chelsea fan, and again, like we're completely messing this window up. But you see players like that moving, and you're going, that's a very good talent. I heard he's a very attacking player,
yeah,
and probably suit Amram's system very well. I believe he's a left back, so Shaw. This could probably be Shaw's final, um, maybe year at the club.
I would
Someone
expect
put out
so.
some crazy stat. I really need to look this up again. This is a crazy stat. It's something like I believe roughly. I think Bruno Fernandes has nearly played the same amount of games as Shaw for Man United.
Fuck me.
Now I need to look it up to make sure, but that's the length of his injuries. I'm believing,
Yeah,
but I need to
like
completely. I glanced at that and like kind of refresh my feed by accident, and I was like, "What's that?" So don't. Yeah,
like
so just throw it out there randomly. It
Shaw
could be complete
was
lies.
when he was playing,
Yeah.
he actually wasn't that bad of a player. But the
No,
problem
no, he's
is
good.
his
He's good.
muscles are just made of fucking Weetabix at the minute. And like he just like how many years now has he just been on and off injuries? At least
Oh
it
yeah, like
must be
he's
going on
getting
4 or 5
injuries.
years now.
He's getting new injuries, recovering from his injuries. Like
Yeah, like he's
it's
recovering at home, and it's like, oh yeah, injured again. It's like, wait, what? I thought you were recovering. I was. I'm bollocksed again. Ugh! It's just
He couldn't make it into training because he got a headache and he fell down the stairs in his bungalow. You know, he's all over the shop. That lad.
oh, stop. He's in a fucking hape, the poor cunt. Um, what other transfer news do we have here? Had main one.
I
Go
wanna
on.
touch on Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, the Arsenal
Now,
bid.
I'm not just saying this because I'm a Chelsea fan, but the problem with it is our club is so chaotic. We're in the middle of all these transfers.
Mm,
That's the reason these things are happening. Like, um, Aston Villa are obsessed with Joe Felix.
yeah,
Therefore, they pushed basically. I were very very happy to move on John Duran, which again, Arsenal want Ollie Watkins. You see what I mean?
yeah,
This is how chaotic Chelsea are. We're always in the web of everything. Now we're not benefiting from any of these deals, but this is how just crazy they are. Same thing with where am I going? John Duran, Mateus Tell. Did we talk about him yet?
no, that's what I
Did
was
we?
literally about to bring up was to touch on that now, easing into
Yeah.
it.
So Bayern Munich are basically they're obsessed. The number one top target is Nkunku. Again, another Chelsea player. We bought whatever. Not getting into it.
Yeah,
He's their top target, and they've kind of I think nearly pushed Tell out the door. Now they wanted I think Tell to just kind of you sign for Chelsea, and then we'll get Nkunku, and then everyone's happy.
yeah,
But Tell is a bit worried about his playing time under Chelsea, which is completely understandable because look, I didn't want to swear on this, but yeah, we're a shit show. Um, we're an absolute joke at the moment. I'm not going to lie, and I don't like constantly buying players. And I think it's a bit of a wake up call, the Tell deal for the sporting directors of Chelsea, because it's you can't keep treating your players and having players coming in and out and having no structure to your team because the young players we are set up to approach and get with high ceilings levels of talent are now looking at our team going, I don't know if I want to go there because like you've Sancho, you've Neto. I mean, what happens if you buy another winger or Modric comes back or
yeah,
it's chaos. It's like, can you guarantee like I'm sure Tell's going like, am I going to play as a striker as well or what if you get Oshman? But it's just the reason I just brought up Chelsea because they're nearly the catalyst for nearly all these deals. Because um, we think we're selling Nkunku then to Bayern, so they force out Tell. Um, Duran goes I think it was Saudi Arabia, isn't it?
yeah.
Because Aston Villa are obsessed with Joe Felix. This is the news that I'm seeing. So yeah, we're just at the center of everything. But that's why I thought initially. I thought Chelsea were going to get Duran because I thought it was going to be a swap deal between Duran um and Felix.
Yeah.
But he he wanted a ton of money, and then Tell wants a lot of playing time. That might happen. So what could happen then? Which again I don't know, but with Chelsea losing them players and only getting money,
Mm,
then we'll have to go and try and buy something, or maybe we won't. I don't know. But just in terms of like what's happening in the transfer market at the moment, in terms of the big names moving, like of course Chelsea are just stuck right in the middle, not selling players, just sorry, not buying players, just selling
yeah.
people that don't feel welcome anymore or whatever. But yeah, it's a bit crazy. But yeah, Tell.
But yeah, so go on to tell Tottenham are actually preparing to invest in Mateus Tell's permanent transfer. It was reported yesterday that they were interested. The fee is about 60 million euro, so it
Well,
would
just
be
just before, like it's literally like that's the amount agreed. Apparently, Spurs and Bayern Munich have agreed over the fee, so now it's up to the player.
yeah,
It's a permanent deal, which will be over. Spurs are advancing talks for Mateus Tell, so it's up to the player now. I believe he has. So like, it's not just wishy washy. It's like Spurs and Bayern have agreed a deal.
yeah.
They're going to give that to Tell, but now the deal is then set in stone in terms of the money wanted. So if Chelsea or Man United, which is another team that was mentioned,
Mm,
want them, and again, good old Chelsea in the mix.
mm,
If United want them, they'll have to fund the deal, won't they?
yeah.
How will they fund the deal? Oh yeah, baby, Garnacho. So
Oy.
we're basically taking United's Garnacho because you missed out on Tell our main target. So
It's not
Yeah,
looking good, bro.
I've given up. I don't care anymore.
Oh,
But that's the kind of moving parts we're dealing with here.
yeah,
Is if like United are looking at him, I believe it's a concrete interest. But again, they'll need to fund that deal. And I
yeah,
think Garnacho, because he's an academy product, I don't even know what the price is. I don't think it was actually mentioned. I think it keeps changing, so I don't know which source is correct. Some say it's like 45, 50. Seen some sources say as high as 65, 70. So I've got no idea. But
no,
in the last couple of days in the window, they be the people I'd look out for. Just in terms of just known from Chelsea, it would be Joe Felix to Villa because Duran's gone. It'd be Nkunku to Bayern because Tell has to go, and then it depends on what you know. If United need more players, they'll have to sell Garnacho,
yeah.
or else they'll probably just do what they have. But we'll touch on that later on. If you know, what do you think about the Tell deal anyway?
I think again, it's an absolute fucking mess, isn't it? Like again, it started with Chelsea, and then obviously we spoke about the Chelsea thing. We're not going to bang on about that. That's just a mess at the minute. And then obviously Tell is being forced out of his club,
Yeah, I feel bad for
which
him,
is
honestly. Yeah,
again, I don't fucking condone any of that. It's disgraceful what they've done to the poor chap. Again, he's 19 years of age and he's being forced out of his club that he got I think he was a academy player
well,
for Bayern as well, wasn't he?
no, I think they bought him
Was he
from.
Bob?
I think they said a French club. I don't know if it was Lille or something like that. And to be
Right.
fair, we don't know what was said.
No, we
Byron,
don't know.
he might have just said how much game time we're going to be getting, and he might have just been straightforward and said, "Look, it's going to be very limited,"
Yeah,
because Chelsea were looking at him a few weeks ago, and I believe the interest of concrete because that's when Bayer was looking at Nkunku, and then pretty much after that, Tell did not play like for 4 games, and I kind of felt like that was Bayern kind of saying, "Take the Chelsea offer because we're not going to play it,"
yeah.
and it was like he came out and then said, "I don't want to go to Chelsea. I want to stay at Bayern and basically fight for my place." And
Which,
then it was like yesterday, it was like bang, no, you're not. He's like, I've decided to leave Bayern, which I'm thinking a conversation must have happened there where he was told
but it's
you're
interesting
going to be playing
because
limited minutes.
we spoke about we spoke about that before off the podcast. That Bayern have an aging like wingers. Like we were speaking about,
Yeah.
what was it, Sane, and there was one other one we were speaking about, I think. But
I
like,
mean, they've got a few agent, like an agent team. They have,
yeah,
I think it's Sane, Gnabry.
that's
I
the one.
mean, what's the guy's name? He's been around for years.
Obviously
Tom
Muller.
Muller.
Yeah,
Muller. Even if you want to say it, like he's still obviously incredible, but Harry Kane as well.
yeah.
You know,
Harry Kane
like
hasn't got a lot more years in the tank.
And I know he was prone to like ankle injuries not at Tottenham, but I think he's good now. He's still
Mm,
obviously putting up crazy numbers. I think he's still unbelievably underrated, but it's just one of them things where I believe I don't understand why they can't just maybe go for a loan deal.
yeah.
You know, let him get minutes because if his ceiling is that high, like you wouldn't want to see him go or then become a great player and you like it's a player that you need,
Mm,
you know.
no, definitely. Um, then I suppose that leads us into, again, we spoke about it, the Garnacho situation.
Mm.
Interest from clubs like Napoli and obviously Chelsea. Sadly, if obviously from Rob's point of view,
Well,
there.
that's actually a club I forgot about is Napoli
Yeah,
because I thought they were looking at Kareem Adeyemi from Dortmund.
from Dortmund. Yeah,
That was supposed to go through, and then all of a sudden there was a change of heart.
that deal was
Chelsea were
all but
looking
done,
at
wasn't it?
I don't know, like Chelsea were looking at Garnacho, and then Napoli were looking at Adeyemi because Napoli were looking at Garnacho as well,
Yeah,
and they moved on to Adiemi, and I said, "Oh God, now we're going to get Garnacho because they've moved on. They were their primary interest,
yeah,
and now all of a sudden that deal is off. So I don't think they've revisited the Garnacho deal again. Garnacho's only a young lad. He has, to be fair, like he does have plenty of potential.
yeah.
It's just
People need to realize
again,
there's a rivalry here. Again,
no, not even. It's not that. It's not that. It's. I don't know if that's what Chelsea need right now. To
mm,
keep buying these young unproven. Chelsea at the moment, they have too many youngsters, and even next year we've more youngsters coming in. But again, I'm not making it about Chelsea. I'm just saying I don't think he suits us.
yeah,
It's like it's just too many youngsters. But I have a feeling Chelsea are going to panic massively, and then you'll see more movement basically coming in the last days of the window.
Yeah,
Which I don't. The crazy thing about it is, I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as us selling Joe Felix and Nkunku and getting Garnacho.
yeah,
I think they will all of a sudden throw a random. Don't be surprised if you see a random bid for a midfielder because um, I think they'll try and get like a six
yeah,
and a second striker. The left winger, I don't know, but just in terms of like, I bring this up because Chelsea seem to be the movers in the market the whole time. They force issues, so if we buy somebody, it means somebody else has to react and then replace. If that makes any sense,
yeah,
that's why I bring up Chelsea in this to try and say we are usually the catalyst. This whole craziness today about the Ollie Watkins deal, about the John Duran deal, about the Garnacho deal, about it's all Chelsea in the middle creating chaos for everyone.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't, but that's just why I bring up Chelsea in these transfer discussions because yeah,
They have a
we
finger in
don't
a
do
few
fuck
pies.
we don't do fuck all on the pitch, but by God off the pitch we're fucking everywhere. Like a prime Kante man moving in the market.
um, just
Well, we're moving in the market. We're doing fuck all, but we're moving. We're
well,
looking good.
there's lots of notes going around.
We're doing plenty of looking, plenty of investigating. Eye on
A
this.
bit of
Likes
window
this.
shopping, you might say.
Oh fuck's sake!
Just one I wanted to bring up as well to end kind of the transfer discussion is obviously one close to us. Obviously, we're Irish, and the young Irish striker, 20 years of age,
Yeah,
Evan Ferguson. It seems like Brighton are very happy for him to move on a loan deal with an obligation to buy or a permanent deal in the January transfer window. He hasn't played in I don't know how many months, weeks, days now. It's getting longer and longer. Um, I don't know if they see eye to eye, him and the manager, or if he just won't get his minutes. I think he is fit, but he's just permanently benched at the minute. He has had a lot of niggly injuries on and off because he's so tall. He's like 6'3", but at the age of 20, like he's still developing. He's not fully developed, and he was getting injuries here and there, and he's still trying to grow, and it all clashed together. But Brighton seem happy to get rid of him on a permanent deal in January, as they've come out and said, with interest from clubs like West Ham, Everton, and even Bournemouth. Now, any of them clubs would actually be a great signing for, especially Bournemouth at the minute. Bournemouth are moving really, really
I've
well in the
seen
Premier League.
I've seen a lot of links between Ferguson and West Ham.
West Ham, yeah.
I don't know if that's a loan deal or if it's going to be a buy deal or whatever it is, but
It looks like
it's
they're
just
aiming, yeah.
he needs game time.
Yeah,
That's simple. All it
massively.
is. What he needs for himself is game time and again a run of games where he's not getting injured. I think to get his confidence back.
Yeah,
Play full 90s or close enough to it, be impactful. Get back in the game, and I think he's still. Like I remember again, Chelsea looking at him a few years ago, but he was quoted as just like he's basically not for sale, well over 100 million. Like that's how good of a talent he was projected to be. He just hit a few road bumps,
yeah,
but if he can keep the injuries away, I still believe he could be a serious, serious talent.
yeah,
And I wouldn't be confident if the team I supported bought him right now. So again, I support Chelsea, support Liverpool, it's things
mm,
like that. I think he needs more development, and I don't think a very top club could give him enough time right now because he needs game time. But don't forget, like when he was playing, he does kind of score his goals in like little patches, but then he gets injured. But he scored against, I think it was the year Newcastle were in the Champions League and everything great. He
yeah,
scored a hat trick against them, a
yeah.
very very good hat trick. He's a very very talented player, good in the air, strong, tall, physical. Um, just you know, just
Just
needs
his
to get a run
injuries
of
have held him
games.
back.
Simple as that.
Other than that,
No, another interesting thing is with a different player. If we're finishing him,
mm,
is the Ollie Watkins deal.
yes, we
Now,
mentioned that. Yeah,
I don't know because of the Duran thing. Um, Arsenal submitted a bid, I think, of 60 million for Watkins, which didn't please Aston Villa at all, as the reports say, because apparently it wasn't. It was more closer to 40 million.
I have an idea of why they did that though. I think they
I
kind of realized from the media as well, especially fans, that they're screaming for a striker. They're just screaming out for one. And I think they thought, we might not be able to get one in January, so we're going to just throw money at Aston Villa. We know we're not going to get him, but we're going to make it look like we're making moves for a striker.
Probably, yeah. Look, I mean, I think they've don't know if they said it, but we've signed a pre kind of agreement with Zubamendi, was
Yeah,
said as well.
for the summer.
They
Yeah.
also said they were monitoring Tell. You know,
Mm.
it's like you don't know how much of this is true, how much is genuine. Um, like I'm not going to lie right now. I like it's hard to know what way teams move. Some clubs move in complete silence.
Yeah.
Some moves kind of a little this and they're looking over here and looking there, and some people just make noise. Oh, we're still here, but they're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
I have like I have a feeling Chelsea will put in 2 round bids towards
The
the end
end,
of the
near
window
near the
and be
very end.
pure
Yeah.
panic. I don't know who it's going to be. It could be just a straightforward Garnacho, but I think there could be something weird. You know, I don't even know if you might get Ferguson.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm throwing out Chelsea. I think they're desperate for a striker, and God knows what could happen. Maybe nothing, but the thing is, if nothing happens, it's going to be the sporting director is going to get sacked. That's it.
Yeah.
So
It's looking ever more likely now.
they've had an entire month and they haven't done anything yet. The only people are doing is monitor and tell. So I can see some other weird things happening. Wouldn't be surprised to see a mad bid from Chelsea for Ollie Watkins or something mad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Throw
Like,
the hat in the ring, just like here. Oh.
wouldn't be surprised. They probably bid for Duran.
Oh, stop. Yeah. Oh, he's going to Saudi. Well, maybe we'll just hijack that.
Oh fuck! He was flying alongside the plane, throwing
Throwing signs up. Oh,
putting sign up at the window. Yeah, oh,
please sign.
turn
Um,
back. There's a puncture. Land in
um,
London. Hmm? But I think that's most of the big news.
big transfer news, yeah. Um, let me
One
see.
small thing they did say, uh, just in case other people are interested in like rumors or things to look out for as well. Um, Chelsea's midfield has been kind of overrun, and
Mm,
apparently that's one of the like I'm talking about like midfield like a six. That's what what's Maresca said to the board. He said I desperately need number six.
mm,
So they said they'd look in or whatever, and that was brought up. Now again, I haven't heard anybody were linked to. I've heard the name Baleba come up, but that's a summer thing.
yeah,
But there could be a random loan deal. Um, yeah, I was just saying Chelsea were looking at. I think well, it was rumored to get Douglas Luiz on loan, or even just exploring the possibility, just as a makeshift, um, just kind of transfer. Because you have two players that they can recall. I don't think they will, but just in
no,
case people are interested in maybe potential, dealings.
yeah,
That's pretty much all I can add to that. Yeah.
yeah. So I suppose we'll go over a topic that is there's a lot of talking points on. I suppose is what else do United really need to do at the minute? Because we were talking about obviously off air that selling Garnacho will clear up a lot of money in the books because at the minute it looks like the PSO for United is absolutely rock bottom, like rock bottom. And like when you hear names like Kobe Mainu, Garnacho, maybe not looking to go,
Mm.
but the club might be selling them. That's a major red flag because they're two of the most promising talents United even have at the minute compared to
Yeah,
what's on the pitch.
I don't think they'd want to get rid of Garnacho or Minu themselves personally, but I do reckon if you put in a high enough bid for Minu, I
Yeah,
believe if you put 70 million on the table, I think you'd probably walk away with Minu around that figure.
yeah, I think so.
And it's unfortunate, but I think they're just saying, Jesus, like that's a lot of money, academy graduate,
Mm,
but
pure
like
profit.
I think he's got a serious ceiling, but just in terms of like the money involved,
Yeah,
if they can get that, they're trying to sell. Well, maybe move on Garnacho. I don't know if Garnacho wants to leave or if he's like in a situation where it's like, look, we have to sell you for PSR,
yeah.
for a few bobs, we can start a rebuild because
It
our
is looking
squad is a
like he's
bit
trying to
stale.
fight for
And
his position though. Like he's
yeah,
not
it's
putting
just
in half
again,
bad performances.
it's not really up to him though.
No,
Unfortunately,
that's
when
that's
it's up
that
to
is
the
a sad
money,
thing.
it's like you can be scoring 10 goals a game. The only thing it's going to do is raise the amount of money they can get from you.
Yeah,
Because the problem with United, I think, they don't have a lot of other sellable assets to make money.
yeah,
Like they can try and get rid of Casemiro, but I think you're mainly just clearing wages off the books. But I think you'd be taking a massive loss in each player.
Mm,
You know,
definitely.
I'm not familiar with the book value or whatever else, but it's just unfortunately it kind of comes down to academy products being sold. I think to generate a ton of money so they can freely move right now. You know,
Yeah,
so they bought Dorgu for like 30 million. I don't know how much spending power else they have. You know, in terms of like, could they spend a 60 mil,
I
or
wouldn't
would
say
that
so.
put them in the red?
Mm,
So I mean, it doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room, and they've
no.
only bought Dorgu, which is probably a good player for his system,
Yeah.
but there's so much lacking. Again, we even look at strikers, maybe midfielders, you know, creative wingers, defenders,
Uh,
possibly even a new. Well, I don't know, like possibly a new goalkeeper. I don't know. You know,
yeah.
who knows with
That's
that
kind
one?
of hit
But
or miss, but I'd nearly agree. A new goalkeeper.
when you look at that and you say, Jesus, they need a rebuild, maybe there could be 700, 800 million. And it's like, that sounds all well and good. But when you've already spent that money and it's
Yeah.
tied up in Anthony, Casemiro, XYZ, you know, Mount, your two strikers, Highland, Xerxes.
Yeah.
I mean, it becomes, and then Rashford as well. Is he moving on? Is he staying? Who knows? It becomes, I think, a case of it's just all your money gets tied up, doesn't it? You know, it doesn't
Yeah.
give you enough money to rebuild. It's a very very tough situation they're in. But I think, yeah, I mean, I just have to do it piece by piece and be clever about it. You know, Dorgu is a good addition, but again, you'd need to be privy to know how much money they can spend.
Yeah.
You know, to see what's their options. Like, will they be looking at younger talent or maybe smart boys from elsewhere? I don't know. But they can't do what we're doing anyway. That's the main thing.
No, that
But
them days are
they,
long gone.
yeah, like they do need a top striker.
Yeah, they
That's
do.
that's the thing. Like they need, again, pick it could be a Gierkes, an Oshman, depends who you want to play. But maybe even a top winger as well. And you're all looking at big bucks for a lot of these players. Top
Mm,
striker again is it's no every club in the world wants a top striker, which is again I think a bit of a shame why Duran left because I
yeah.
think he's an option. He's an option for Chelsea. He's an option for Liverpool. He's an option for, of course, like a West Ham or United or Tottenham. I think he walks into most of them teams. Well, no, probably all, to be honest with you. Like,
Yeah.
um, but he's gone now, and it's another striker, but with world class potential. It's just
Off the books again.
off the map,
Um,
unfortunately.
I suppose will we do some of our predictions then for the weekend?
Yeah. Well,
Might as well. So I'll throw the names
yeah.
out for you. Some will be Super Six and some won't be. We can do it alongside this. So first one, I don't think it's on Super Six as far as I'm aware. No, it isn't. It is Brighton and Forest. Forest at home in that match. That could be a good
Oh,
game.
I think Forest bounce back.
You think?
Um, yeah. What they lose 5-0 to Bournemouth.
5-0. Yeah,
Yeah, that was just an absolute. I don't even know what to say about that. That
bit
was
of a
just
freak.
a freak. Well, it's a bit of a freak match, but Bournemouth are a very, very good side. But to lose against another top side, Forest, to beat them, I think Bournemouth had like 8 players that injured, and he bet them 5-0. Just
Yeah,
bananas. But
I'm gonna go with a Forest 2-1 win on that one.
I think Brighton are kind of open. I think I could see 3-1 Forest.
3-1. Yeah. Again, that could be any score. Both teams are good at scoring, but again, both teams kind of have to bounce back as well. Brighton had a really bad loss there. I think it was it Newcastle or could have been, I can't remember who it was. It was like a 4-1 defeat. So both teams
Hmm.
kind of have to get back into the rhythm. Um, again, one I'm not looking forward to as a Liverpool fan. Bournemouth at home to Liverpool. Uh, fuck. I'm not looking forward to this match. It's going to be a tough one.
This is the type of game where them Bournemouth injuries will kind of maybe stick out a bit more.
Yeah.
Um, I think it could be a low scoring game, maybe 1-1, 2-1 Liverpool.
The
But
problem is, I see the 1-1, but we can't really afford to draw at all at the minute.
I don't think you'll have a choice no matter. Like
Thanks.
honestly, it's one of them ones where again, like who's your Arsenal lost, I think, to Bournemouth. So if you draw, I mean, I know it sounds, but
Well,
you
we
just have to
already beat
take the
Bournemouth
points
this
that way.
season,
Yeah.
and they were at full strength then. We beat them 3-0.
Hmm.
I'm gonna. I don't think it's gonna be 3-0, but I'm gonna back my team. I'm gonna say 2-0 Liverpool. I'm gonna back the lads. Um, what's the next match we can do here? Would be Newcastle and Fulham, I suppose. Another good game. Fulham. They didn't play well against United, I have to say.
No, they were very, very
They were
poor.
very
I was
poor.
expecting a bit from them. I was actually expecting them to beat them.
Mm.
They were very, very poor.
So they need to
Um,
kind of bounce back.
Newcastle at
Newcastle's.
home, St James's for them. I think Newcastle put
I
3-1,
think.
2-1
Mm, I'm gonna go
at
2-1.
home.
I don't think it's gonna be a high scoring match because Fulham do have a good defense as well. Um, what else do we have here? Wolves and Aston Villa. Um, obviously Villa with all the not controversy, but all the news and that around them. Excuse me, with obviously Duran and then Watkins, things like that. Um, I'm gonna go Wolves at home in that match as well, but Wolves are still not that great, are they? So
No.
I think probably a Villa. Uh, that
Like,
could
and
be anything.
again, there's no. The way I kind of see it is the Duran deal is good for Bayern. Sorry, good for fucking Villa.
Mm,
But they're probably going to buy Felix as a bit more kind of, something to play in behind or to come off the bench to add something. You know what I mean? A bit of
yeah,
creativity that, like, Duran was a great plan B. You know what I mean? You get to like 60 minutes, you bring him on, he's just this
you could come on
freak of
and
nature,
score a
just
hat trick.
banging
You wouldn't
goals.
know.
Like if things are going south, like if Watkins or maybe even Morgan Rogers playing well at the moment,
Yeah,
don't score goals. But Wolves are poor. I see Villa
I think 3-0.
again. 3-0, 3-1, 2-1. Yeah, I don't know. Do I give them a goal? I mean, Cunha, he is a good player, but he hasn't really done
He's been
much.
very poor,
But
very
I'd
very
say
poor.
maybe 2-0.
2-0.
2-0 Villa.
Again, I'm sorry for Spurs fans, but this could be also a doozy. Brentford at home with the best record currently in the Premier League for home games against Spurs. It's not going to be
Um,
a spanking, but I do think Brentford are going to win this as well.
I think I've seen a few shows kind of predicting this, and he said, "Oh, I might do this." And I think Brentford are going to slap them up.
You think?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Mm,
It just depends what Spurs show up, but I think the best thing they can do, if the best Spurs team show up, they're still going to get slapped 2-1.
yeah,
If the Spurs show up, that has shown up for the last couple of weeks, like it showed up against Tamworth, was it Tamworth?
yeah,
That
Tamworth.
showed up. That showed up against Leicester. If Vista and Waymo are on it, I might triple captain and Waymo. Honestly,
Yeah, could be a
yeah,
shout for the fantasy.
it's. I feel they can be so easily got at Brentford at home. This could be a really really long day for Spurs, and
Yeah,
again more injuries for them. I believe. Well, I do think Romero might be back. That gives them something. Or Van de Ven, but they're missing Madison now as well for 3 weeks, and they're
yeah,
missing I think somebody else. Could be Johnson or Slanky. I just think they're done. They're just have not like and a Brentford team that's
I think this
yeah.
could be like a 4-2 or something.
I'm thinking 5-1.
5. Ooh,
5-5. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ooh, Jesus.
It could be
Um,
one of them games where Spurs just throwing the towel and just
just
don't know
open
what
the
to do because
floodgates.
the thing well, just from my experience from watching Spurs, it looks like they're up for the bigger games, like against City and stuff like that. Even
Yeah,
against Chelsea, they made the game look closer than what it was. But they come out of the traps fast, scored 2 goals. Then we scored, I think, four on the bounce, and they got another one, it was 4-3.
yeah,
But they're scoring a few goals and playing a bit better against, you know, opposition that they're up for. If that makes any sense.
mm,
But these opposition, I think, to be not fully focused on Brentford, exactly like what happened with Tamworth, I feel like.
yeah,
Exactly what happened with Leicester. They're kind of not looking past them. Did you show up in second gear and then Brentford show up in fifth? And they're like, oh shit. And they just can't get up to fifth or whatever to even try and compete. And
yeah.
the game's already well and gone. I can see Brentford scoring two or three. I can see it being 3-0 before half an hour. I think
Uh,
it could be an absolute drubbing. Yeah.
yeah.
Now,
I'm going to give Spurs the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say 4-2. I'll at least give them 2 goals, but
yeah,
it's
potentially,
it's
yeah.
not much
It's
of a
just
consolation, is it? Like,
my wild card is just going. I just feel like this could be a game where they just collapse. There's so much pressure on them. Again, I don't know what squad he's playing tonight. They're playing today in the Europa League.
yeah, they're playing at home.
It just depends. He should rest the squad. I don't see any reason to play a full squad. I think they're already okay.
Yeah, they're already
So
qualified.
if they're definitely qualified, if you rest the squad, no more injuries, then it helps them, of course.
Mm,
But I just think with the injuries they have, the confidence they have, my God, like yeah, I just think Brentford will just smell blood and go for them.
yeah,
So my wild prediction will be I think 5-1 Brentford. I think this could be one of them just
slappings.
wild cards. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
I'm
it
gonna.
could be a boring nil all. I don't
It
fucking like,
could be a born nil all.
yeah.
It really could be. You don't know. But I'm going to go 4-2 myself to Brentford. I think Brentford do the job on them.
Hmm.
Outside the Super Six again, we have Man United at home to Crystal Palace.
Oh, that's got an absolute stinker written all over it.
It does. It really does.
Wait, who's the home? United.
United,
Hmm.
like, what was their last game was a loss, wasn't it? Was that Brighton? It was Brighton, wasn't it? The
Who?
weekend, was it? I think so, wasn't it?
Who?
For United.
Palace. Palace. Oh, United played Fulham. Bet them 1-0.
Oh, that's what it was. Sorry, it was the week before.
Hmm.
Um, they weren't great in that match either. But then again, Palace have they got much? Is Eze firing at the minute? I know
Yeah,
Mateta's not doing
I
too
think
bad.
he scored. I think he
Yeah,
scored the last game, or whatever. Yeah, to be okay. I think it's going to be a tough game if they set them up properly. Well, in that kind of low block he's played against us, like they can kind of really frustrate you. But it's at Old Trafford. It's a bit more open. The fans want to win. Like they'll be pushing hard. I can see 1-1,
the one
two
all.
one either
Yeah,
way. 2-1.
could be. Yeah.
Now Dorgu won't be playing,
No,
so
his
again it's going to
medical
be the
got
same
moved.
old, same old.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
close
go.
game.
I'll go with 2-1 Palace. Obviously, I'm a
No,
Liverpool
2.
supporter, so that's
I'll
why.
go 2-1 United. Them at home should give them the extra edge to go past them.
Two more games. Obviously, game of the weekend, Super Sunday match at 4:30 is Arsenal at home to Manchester City. Now, this could be a doozy of a match, or it could be an absolute stinker. I like the way the two teams are performing. This could be stinky. This could have a fucking nil all written on it. You wouldn't even know.
Well,
Doesn't
they're going to be up for it, but the thing is with Arsenal, if they set up properly, they'll just run straight through the middle of City.
yeah,
Again, as a Chelsea fan, that last game, City beat us 3-1, and it was the worst Chelsea performance I've seen. I'm completely checked out, I'm not going to lie.
yeah.
I think the manager made an absolute howler. I've watched City for a while, and I think just they're so easily caught on the break. Even
They
we've
can be
seen it
got.
tonight against Club Bruges. Feyenoord come back. What was it? Scored 3 goals on the trot to draw it up.
Yeah,
They're just so easily got at, and you need to play them. You need to be. When I seen PSG play them, my God, they've got a young lad in the middle. Joe Neves, I think his
Jen
name
Evers.
is.
Yeah,
He's going to be the next big thing in football, I believe. He's only 20 years old, and he ran the midfield. Like he was up against Gundogan and Bernardo and all the rest of it, and he was by himself. And I thought
he was serious.
he completely just overshadowed them. He ran the pitch. He was so good at closing them down. He's only a small little lad, but he plays like a little terrier. The way like he just every
Yeah,
single challenge he got into,
yeah.
they didn't have the moment to breathe. But that's what you need. And the thing about uh, PSG was as well. They had I think Barcola on one side and who was on the other side. Can't remember now. But just the
Dembele
wingers then, and Dembele. Dembele I think scored as well. So did
scored a
Barcola.
hat trick
And,
last night.
yeah, but just against City.
Yeah,
Um, just the wingers going up the side as well. They can't cope. They cannot cope. The midfield gives them no. Kovacic is doing his best, but he's just not made for that.
no, he's not Rodri.
If Arsenal play, mate, I think this is a game where if you start Wanyeri, you could shine. That a winger like that, an attacking winger, going at them, not giving them the respect
Yeah,
going forward. Just once you stop Haaland, it's. I think they're pretty one dimensional, but the thing is that just that usually works so well for them.
yeah.
Kind of sense of a city, but. Um,
I'm gonna go with a 2-all on this one.
I just don't see how Haaland scores.
Uh,
I just don't like he's going to have no space in behind, and I think Saliba and Gabriel are back,
yeah,
so he's not getting any joy in the air, which he doesn't anyway.
no,
So I mean, like, I don't understand how he scores. Like, with no Rodri there, he can't play a ball straight into his feet. De Bruyne, I'm sorry, like, he's one of my favorite players in the Premier League. Again, ex Chelsea player, but of not he's a phenom. He's an absolute phenom. But he looks a shadow of himself.
yeah,
He looks like he's ready to leave for Saudi as well.
yeah, he does.
Um, you think you mentioned it already, but you're losing a massive asset there in unlocking Haaland. Foden, I think a small bit of form. Um,
Even Kovacic in midfield scoring a few.
yeah, but that's not reliable. He barely
No,
ever.
it
Well, for
isn't.
Chelsea, he barely ever scored. He scored actually one worldly against Liverpool. That
Mm,
volley where he's like gone back. That was you're just looking at him going, like, how did you just like you don't score goals? You
you just
score
bang
something like
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he scored against us in the first game of the season as well
yeah,
against against Man City. Just weird. But he's asked to do a lot of that, which I don't think he's comfortable with. But
he
they
has to
make
try
him
his
do.
best.
But Arsenal, it just depends what way Arteta sets up. I believe they have the tools to beat them. It's just if they try and sit back and they're too afraid of Haaland and these, you know what I mean, they invite pressure on
Yeah,
and it got like, yeah, it's hard to know why it's going to go. The last game wasn't great. Remember that was actually when Rodri tore his ACL and
yeah.
Arsenal just sat in the box, didn't move. Um,
I'm gonna go
yeah,
2-all.
I'm just going to go just go 1-0. I think Arsenal will be safe.
Mm.
They just take a point. They go 1-0, 1-0.
And then obviously I hate to ask, but Monday night at 8 o'clock we go back to Stamford Bridge against the Hammers. Chelsea versus West Ham United.
Potter's first game against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have absolutely zero faith in Chelsea anymore. And
Mm.
again, we still have glaring issues that haven't been fixed. The goalkeeper, he simply cannot play Sanchez. He's done at Chelsea.
Yeah.
This is our Karius moment. He's done.
Yeah.
It's you play him again. Like, I can't remember who said it. Someone made a great point. We already know Sanchez's level.
Yeah.
We already knew that. We bought him from Brighton, and I think at the time he was nearly their third choice goalkeeper, right?
Yeah.
And then, as if it was to say, "Oh, but we can, fix him or do something in a certain way." You don't see like what we do. It's like, no, no, we do. He came to Chelsea. He started for a little while, and then Petrovic simply just took his spot straight away. And then, you know, it's during the summer. It's like, all right, Petrovic, off you go on loan because I knew number one is right here. It's Sanchez. It's like we we already figured this out. Like
yeah.
he's not. No, no, he's the number one. Put him between the sticks, and he's created the most errors leading to goals.
Yeah.
And you're like, why do you have to learn this lesson like 3 or 4 times, like in different seasons? And you're sitting there watching him conceding goals, and like it's just like if you know his level, it's not his fault anymore. It's the manager for playing him.
Yeah.
It's like playing a striker up front who just can't head a ball, and you're whipping in crosses fucking for 90 minutes, and he's not scoring them. And it's like he hasn't scored in 30 games. What's going on? It's like, I don't know. The striker must be terrible, but it's like, but if you keep picking him, do
Mm.
you know what I mean? Then it's the manager's fault. It's not the striker anymore. Everyone's like, he can't head a ball.
Yeah.
Like it's a skill he doesn't possess. Sanchez just at this point, I feel a sense bad. At this point, I feel bad for him because
Yeah.
I feel him bad for him because he just looks so out of his element. And somebody said this. This is something that like genuinely think about all the goalkeepers in the league all the way through. Even think about Pickford starting for Everton. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or what's your man's name who does for plays for Fulham?
Leno.
The Leno. He's a good goalkeeper. Look at Martinez. All the way through the thing and go, where does Sanchez play?
Yeah.
Like go through the whole list and say which team does he go in for, and you're looking at maybe one of the relegation teams
Yeah.
before you go in there. Like that's how bad he is.
Yeah.
Like one thing you cannot have in your goalkeeper is mistakes, constant mistakes. I'm sorry, pulls off a few great saves, but when he's throwing goals in the back of the net, like a prime example is just this little bit of a rant. When we played, I think it was actually Brighton, the Brighton game.
Yeah.
It was I think it was 4-2. Um, we went 1-0 up. Palmer scored.
Mm.
Sanchez made an absolute howler. They kicked it into an open net,
Yeah.
right? And I think we scored again. And then whatever it was, but then Sanchez made another howler. They ended up scoring 2 goals. I think we're going to 1-3-2 or 4-3, something like that. Or maybe it was against Wolves. But anyway, it was only for Palmer just going ballistic. It was the game he scored, I think, 4 goals in the first half.
Yeah.
Sanchez, right? And Palmer was just looking at him going, like, what are you doing? I have to keep, like, luckily he just had these moments of brilliance in him. Because Sanchez just kept, like, he ran out to try and punch the ball, completely missed it, and headed into an open net. You're
Yeah.
going, oh my God. Tried to kick out, he can't use his feet, played a short pass, it just slotted it back into his own net. And Palmer's like, hey, for real, like? And then he's go back up the other end and try and work his magic again. And it worked at the time. Now
Yeah.
it's not working anymore. Now it's
No.
not working. The magic's gone. And you're just looking at Dopey between the sticks there. And he just keeps conceding and mistakes and mistakes. He gave away the ball, I believe, in the City game like 19 times.
Yeah, more than the outfield players.
Yeah. Like, why? I'm sorry. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, the conversation's done. No, honestly, I think we're that bad at the moment. I was very, very, very disappointed with Maresca. I think now, unfortunately, our first team looks a bit, I don't know, just out of ideas.
Mm.
And now we still have Nkunku and Felix, but both of our heads are on moves, so they can't really play them. There's no
Yeah.
point in putting them on the pitch. So again, you're forced to play Jackson, who hasn't scored in 8 games. I think Kudos is going to cause us a ton of trouble. They don't have a striker, which is, you know, I'm sure Sanchez will sort out a few goals. Something like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I honestly, I'm just going to put they'll win 2-1.
I'll go the opposite. I think Chelsea will win. I think they'll have a bit of a bounce back.
What bounce back? Like, there's nothing there. That's the thing. I don't feel like the way the manager played against City, he threw that game. I'm sorry, but you just threw it. There was no fight there. There was no bottle. There was no energy. There's no intensity. We are one injury to Casado away from completely capitulating.
Mm.
There's nothing there. There's nothing there. You know. So yeah, I think West Ham. Yeah.
Well, I think that'll
But you
do.
never know.
Oh.
We might have Garnacho by then.
Oh,
You know. So
ho, yes.
yeah.
You know, that could be a
Garnacho,
fucking.
Tell.
Oh,
We could have John Duran up at the front as well there, magically, you know?
you might have fucking Manuel Neuer with a time machine between the sticks. You never know.
Yeah. So not looking forward to that. Yeah.
I think
But
that'll
yeah,
do us anyway.
that's the crack. Anyway, I think the game of the week, honestly, I'm gonna say it now, is gonna be Brentford Spurs. I think that's gonna be an
I
absolute knee
think
slapper.
that's gonna be a doozy. That will be a doozy. We'll definitely tuning into that. But yeah, we'll come back to these again over the weekend with our see if our predictions came through, what happened, and we'll see if Spurs get slapped. But yeah, that's it from us. Keep the head, keep the faith, and keep our lit lads. Best of luck, and we'll see you in the next one.
Right, look.